I don't know what we'll do. I think I'll keep that awesome intro bit, and we'll do another like miniature intro bit, and we'll have that intro bit be the intro bit for this show.
You should have started that part as the intro bit.
Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see. Welcome to Two Trolls and a Brew, episode 92B. The payoffs never came, as you probably heard from 5 seconds ago. So it turns out that Travis's nephew is now a niece due to an unfortunate series of events involving a vacuum cleaner and a blender.
Yeah. That's what I get for teaching them at a young age.
No, if like me, there was like 5 seconds of worry, everything's fine. I'm not sure. Whatever, it's fine. Who cares? So I'm going to have cut the show in such a way that we're ready for troll cards.
Yes.
I don't know why I'm having such a good time with this right now. Troll cards, Firebrand Archer. He's a 2/1 for 2, a red and a generic, a human archer. When you cast a non-creature spell, Firebrand Archer deals 1 damage to each opponent. I really like this card. I drafted it. When we actually get into the shenanigans that was my draft deck, I think you'll figure out why I drafted it and why I thought it was very fun. But I think this card's got a lot of potential, like a lot of potential. Is this something that tickles your fancy?
I don't know. How much does it cost?
2, a red and a generic.
Okay, and what's it do?
It deals 1 damage to each opponent whenever you cast a non-creature spell.
Mm-hmm. Is it a 1/3?
It's a 2/1.
Dies to shock, huh?
Does die to shock. However, I just wanna throw this out here that Sigarda's Aid is legal, and so is Your Butt Gets Huge enchantment. And both, or not enchantment, but
oh yeah,
equipment, and both of those are in there. So I don't know. I think this guy's got some potential for some interesting shenanigans. Firebrand Archer. If you want to play like some sort of Boros equipment-y strange engine thing.
right?
Could be cool. Could be fun. Also hits vehicles, right? You play a vehicle and it goes off. So, like, there's plenty of ways to cheat creatures in that are not really creatures to trigger this guy for a little extra reach. You have Stifler Worm. The Stifter. The Stiffmeister.
Sifter?
Basically the same thing.
Yeah, basically.
What's that card?
So, cost 5 generic, 2 green. It's a 7/7 with trample. And when it enters the battlefield, I scry 3, then reveal the top card of my library, and gain life equal to that card's CMC.
I hate that card.
Oh my god, it is so good.
That card, exactly. That's why I don't like that card. That card is a butt whooping on the stick.
So I went to the draft this week, and pack one, pick one. I opened up. You remember how we were talking about how I should make a mono green stompy deck for standard?
Yes, as your homework assignment.
Yeah, which I didn't do. But I did open up Ronus's Last Stand, pack one, pick one.
Hey, real fast, Travis. Is that a non-creature spell that makes a creature?
Yes.
Does that mean it like Firebrand Archer hits it?
No, it means that it causes Firebrand Archer to hit something else.
Well, that's what I meant. Triggers Firebrand Archer.
Yes.
Seems good.
Your Firebrand Archer seems like a millennial. So anyways, I grabbed that, and then I'm like, I wonder if I can do mono green in draft. Next card I get was out the Green Hour, the one that fetches lands.
Okay. It goes and gets
and I'm like,
what, 2 any cards that you want? Or 2 lands?
Yeah, 2 lands that you want. Hour of something or another. Hour of Promise.
Okay.
So I was like, all right, well, 2 for 2. Let's keep going. And then basically I ended up drafting 23 green cards main deck. And I ended up going 2-1. That's because the person that I lost to, he ended up having more flyers than I had reach guys. Which is kind of a problem when you're playing a green deck. But the Sifter Worm is one game that I played it, and this is why it was my troll card. Because there is one game that I played it where it gained me 9 life off of Spring to Mind.
That's the guy's problem. It's like, not only is it a massive 7/7 beater for 6 mana, right?
7.
7 mana?
7.
But you scry 3, so you set up your next 3 draws to be not lands. Or you try. And then you gain somewhere between, say, like 4 and, in your situation, 9 life. Like, that's just... It's insane. It's too... I mean, and I'm fine with, like, really powerful rares. But that guy's, like, just too good to show up as an uncommon in these drafts, especially with 2 packs. 2 packs of hours. That's just insane.
Yeah.
That's like the kind of payoff card that you're looking for that just never came. Never came. So other than getting beat by flyers, what did you like about your deck? What were you about to tell me?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's so fast. Like, I got the Sifter Worm out on turn 5, one of the games.
Well, yeah, because if you're green and you take either the acceleration or the... well, I guess there's just so much acceleration. Like, you can just cheat him out.
Like, one of the games I played that Naga on turn 2, the one that taps for the color of lands that you have. Mono green, so it's tapping for green. Then turn 3, I played, what was it, another one, and Promise, Gift of Paradise?
Gift of Paradise?
Yeah. And then turn like...
makes an extra 2. Taps for 2.
Yeah. And then turn 5, I ended up playing the Sifter Worm, and they're like, oh. I'm like, yeah, surprise! Deal with him.
Yeah, and so there's a surprisingly large number of quality payoffs in green in this block.
Yeah.
And
yeah, there is.
Also, I think green has some of the best, if not the best, removal. I mean, yeah, it's always creature-based, but at the same time, it's just like, it feels like the best stuff. Like, you have all these one-way fight cards and, like, fight cards with, or one-way fight cards with bonuses. Like, hey, kill a dude, and your guy has Vigilance and Trample. Like, oh, well, thank you. Thank you. See, I don't know. My draft did not go very well.
See, I think if I wouldn't have gotten paired up against that flyer, I would have taken down the draft undefeated.
Probably. But I mean, there's the reason why flyers end up making it to the top seeds, right? Like, there's just not enough removal to go around, and there generally is not enough flyers.
You mean anti-flyers?
Well, either anti-flyers or counter-flyers.
Yeah.
You know, like...
Well, and like, I even got the giant spider, and that just wasn't enough either. Like, I got the giant spider, the 2 vigilant reach guys for 5.
Right.
And just didn't get there.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It sounds very rough, but I don't know. I think I'm just going to go back to drafting the blue decks. I don't know. Like, they're underdrafted in at my shop. No one wants to play the blue decks because they all think blue's bad in draft. And to be fair, it's had that reputation for the last couple of sets, so I'm just I don't know.
Maybe in your guys' meta.
Well, it's just it's weird the way our guys play, you know?
Yeah.
So, and to be fair, the pros also have been down on blue the last, I think, 2 sets.
Really? Because
draft.
I was gonna say I love them.
Well, I like it too. I've drafted mono blue a couple of times in the last, in Almond Cat by itself, or almost mono blue, I should say. And then I've drafted basically mono blue in what was it? Kaladesh, whatever, A3 volt.
Yeah.
Like in that draft format, I drafted damn near mono blue as well. So I don't know. I do know though from experience that because blue often is considered a trickier thing, and draft in particular turns into like these weird creature combats, people tend to not focus on it as much. But like you have a 2/3 flyer flash creature for 4 mana. That sounds great.
Yep.
You have a Windrake with upside for 3 mana, obviously. That just like, hey, here's my giant flying dude, or here's my giant dude that you can't deal with. Confligen now. Ooh.
Right.
So, anyway, I wanna get into the nuts of my draft for a quick second because I pulled the cards out, because I felt like this was a disaster. We talked last week, I think it was last week. Ooh, Travis has got his too. He's flashing them.
Yeah.
I love it when Travis comes prepared. We can really get into draft this week then, I think.
Yeah, we can.
But I talked about wanting to draft I think I mentioned on last week's show, or maybe we talked about it in between shows, and how I wanted to talk about it this week. But I drafted the 5-color green deck. Except I didn't end up with any white cards in my deck. So I guess technically it was the 4-mana green deck, but I was looking for payoff cards. I was looking for payoff cards literally anywhere, and I felt like I took fixing over payoff cards pack 1, thinking that there would be payoff cards pack 2, and they just never came.
Yeah.
Because I know when I draft the 5-color deck, I prioritize the fixing over the payoff cards, typically. And by payoff cards, I mean things like the Sifter Worm, or what's that other worm, the 7/7 that cycles and it can't be blocked except for creatures power 2 or greater than 2.
Consuming?
Something like that. Some other worm. Like those are cards that I consider payoff cards, right? Like just big, fat, hard to deal with creatures.
Yeah.
That you kind of... Go ahead.
I was going to say, keep talking. I have to yell really quick.
Okay. These are the payoff cards in my mind. And I felt like, okay, in this situation, especially pack 1, when people are kind of scrambling, you have to take the opportunity to grab the cards like the Traveler's Amulets, or let's see, I picked up another one. What is it called? I'm digging through all my removal. It's like you go find a land and put it into play. Oh, maybe it's in this pile.
Oh, is it a land?
Beneath the Sands. Like those things are the things that I always end up focusing pack 1, and then I can't find the big creature payoffs or whatever to kind of get there at the end. So
okay,
I don't know. I hear that there's a deck here. I haven't seen it yet, but I liked what I drafted in the sense that I had a lot of fun, but I didn't like it because I ended up 2-2. Okay, so pick 1, pack 1 was a Wired Fire Eternal. That's that 1/4 that has afflict, and when it's unblocked or attacked and it's unblocked, I get a free spell. Right?
Okay.
Free sorcery. So I took it, thinking, all right, well, maybe I'll be the red, be red with all these cool accelerate green spells that I'll like attack and like, oh, you didn't block, so I'll do things, right? Pick 2, pack 1 was Imminent Doom, which is part of the reason why I decided, yes, I can do it. Right? Like I'll take Traveler's Amulets on 1, I'll take Mana Dorks on 2, and I'll take like the Mana Acceleration on 3, and I'll be able to Imminent Doom your face for days. I don't know. I chickened out. I'm not going to lie. I chickened out of Imminent Doom. I took Vizier Many Faces. It was like, oh no, that was later. What else did I take? Open Fire. Open Fire came next. So I was like deep into the red pool, and then I started taking like random cards like Beneath the Sands and the Traveler's Amulets, the Mana Lith came through. But I was just like, man, all right, this pack one is kind of shite. I had a lot of good removal spells, but like my best creature that I was able to find as a quote-unquote payoff was the Sidewinder Naga, which is that 3/2. If for 3, if you have a desert, it becomes a 4/2 trample, which is a great card, but not the category of a payoff card by any stretch. So then pack 2, pick 1, I had to choose between the blue flyer that stifles when you cycle it or an overcome. So naturally I leaned towards trying to win the draft and took the overcome.
Mm-hmm.
Which every time I had it and I cast it, I did win the game. I won the game. Except for once. One game I won without having to cast it.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. I was going to do the sweet trick of like attack with all my dudes in the Wildfire and Eternal. And then when he goes unblock, I was going to like overcome at instant speed. But my opponent counted up damage and decided he was dead without me having to cast the spell.
Oh.
So I was like, oh, that's nice. Thank you. So anyway, along the path, I feel like my most powerful cards were actually an Almond Cat. Like I picked up, I think, a Mouth in pack 3, a Commit to Memory in pack 3, obviously the Vizier of Many Faces in pack 3. So like I ended up with 5 rares, at least. My dog is doing that thing, I think, that makes her sound like a chicken. Anyway.
It did kind of sound like a chicken.
Right? Right? It's like,
that's awesome.
Yeah, it's awesome, except that means that she's like hemorrhaging inside or some S.
Oh.
Anyway, I also
managed...
whatever. I ended up with my favorite combo, once again, of Wander in Death and Scribe of the Mindful.
Yeah.
Plus the clone. So my deck ended up in this really weird place that let me do some really awesome and / fun things. For me, like play a Scribe of the Mindful, play a clone, sacrifice the clone next turn, regrow my Wander in Death, sacrifice my Scribe, get back a removal spell, play a Scribe, next turn play the clone, sacrifice the Scribe, continue the chain. There was one game, the actual penultimate, I was playing with Scott, friend of the show, Scott. Last game of the night, and Scotty had the Obnixilis, right? He plays Obnixilis against me game 1. I have to kill it. Not Obnixilis, sorry. Bolisk. Sorry, Bolisk. The God Pharaoh.
Yeah. That makes more sense than a Planeswalker from 2 sets ago.
A different set. Sorry.
Yeah.
Anyway, so he has Bolisk.
A whole different plane.
Well, I mean, to be fair, they're all walkers, right? They can walk around. That's their whole point. But
yeah.
But yes, sorry, I misspoke. It was Bolas. So he plays Bolas. He kills my Fig Fatty. I do some shenanigans, kill his Bolas. End up winning that game. The next game, he goes to cast Bolas. I commit to memory. I set up my cool little combo. I counter Bolas 5 times, I think.
Jeez.
By committing to memory to the top of his deck. Finally, he gets to the point where he scoops. And I'm like, well, yeah. And Remington was just like, why do they keep giving you this card? These 2 cards. Why? I'm like, I don't know, but it's good. I like it. So, I don't know. I don't know if I'm going to get him again this week. But, like, if I see one of those two cards, and I'm anywhere near those colors in draft, I take it. Not necessarily first pick over the rare, but super high. I'm
Right.
Like even in my aggressive like flyer decks or whatever, I still take it. Like there are very few cards that I take over those cards in limited, I think. I don't know, it's crazy. But yeah, I couldn't find
Draft is go 5 colors.
I couldn't find the 5-color deck though. That's my problem. I think my black cards were the Wonder and Death and the Exile Target Creature card. And my blue cards were like not great. I had 2 of the Flash Flyers, the Condemn to Memory, the Clone, and obviously the Scribe. I think those were my blue cards. My red cards, I think, were like 3 removal spells and a couple of creatures. Like, and they're not even good creatures. And then my green was just like fixing and 2 2s for 2 and 4 2s for 3.
Okay.
That's like my whole deck. I was just like, my kingdom for a sweet payoff card. Any color. I don't even care. Just sweet payoff card. I don't know. Should I try again?
Sure.
You're like, yeah, you probably
Your money.
should. Or should I just give up and go back to winning drafts?
Your money, your decision.
Oh my goodness. All right.
Glad I can help.
We'll see. We'll see if we can't find some other sweet archetype to play with and report back. So now you've drafted twice. Is that true?
Yeah.
What do you think is the deck to draft in your limited experience here?
Ha, I see what you did there. Honestly, like, creatures low to the ground.
Be aggressive.
And still just the cartouches.
So, not to completely disagree with you 100%, but I'm gonna. At least where I'm at in my shop, the blue-red deck with like mostly flyers and then like that 6/4 that cycles for a red as like your payoff card / finisher or whatever, because you can like pick up those 2/2 drakes that give them flying. Just seems to be the deck. Like it's completely open. For me, it seems like every time. And had I moved into it, I think I would have won the draft easily.
Right.
Like, every deck I played just felt like that. I lost to a Pride, whatever that lion is that I'm beginning to hate.
It's not a lion, it's a kitty.
Whatever. It can eat my ass with a spoon. I decided I don't like him. I lost to it. And I feel like sometimes my opponent plays like this particular opponent plays 2 creatures or 2 spells a turn every turn for like 4 or 5 turns in a row. And I'm just like, how many cards you got left in your hand? They're like 4. I'm like, So, anyway, aggravating. Man, I don't know where I was going with that other than just wanted to complain a little bit.
Shocking.
Speaking of dying to shock, what low to the ground creatures you said? Anything else that we should look out for in draft according to the Travis?
Nah.
Okay.
Just get in there fast, get in there hard.
No,
2 pumps, you're done.
No evasion.
Nah, you don't need evasion.
I mean,
fly under them.
Lost to the Flyers deck.
Yep.
Okay. So the next big talking point is the modern
You inconsiderate prick.
Yes, what did I do now?
You didn't go over my draft.
I just said anything else you want to talk about in the draft, and you said no.
Yeah, for your draft.
I meant general drafts. Just drafts happen.
Oh, well, nope, mine.
Okay, let's hear it then. Jeez.
Well, you started this.
I asked.
Yeah, you asked about your draft.
Okay, Travis, could you please tell me about your draft?
Okay. Uh,
Holy
so I'm
shit.
I'm a, I'm gonna start off by I drafted 6 rares that I didn't even play.
Okay.
Yeah.
Trying to get some dollar bill value.
Yeah. Like Scavenger Ground. That's the exile all graveyards.
Okay.
The Sheltered Thicket. The red green bicycle land.
Okay.
Reason to Believe. That's the
Oh,
blue
the
mana scry
Scry.
3. Yeah.
Okay. That's a good one, I
Dread
think.
Wanderer.
That's fine. That's a
Uh,
reasonable
Hour
pick.
Hour of Glory.
I'm trying to think
And
which one that one is. Is that the White Wrath?
no,
No.
that's the black exile a creature. If it's a god,
Oh, I
they
like
reveal
that
their
card a
hand.
lot, actually.
Yeah, I drafted it because I didn't want to play against it, just in
Okay.
case I got Ronus.
Seems fair.
But then also Solemnity. So I didn't play any of those rares.
Sounds about right. I mean, I
So
could have seen Splashing Black for that removal spell.
I mean, I easily could have because I had
Then I wouldn't be able to tell you how
6.
awesome I was drafting this mono green deck.
I had 6 things that fetched that could fix land base.
Mm-hmm.
But whatever. It's not much. Uh, Non-creature spells. You're gonna love this list.
Okay, let's hear it.
1 life goes on. That's a gain 4 or gain 8 for
Okay,
Morbid.
I was going to say it sounded familiar, but I couldn't think of what it was.
My pack 1 pick 1 and the all-star of removal. Ronus's Last Stand.
All-star removal.
Oh, that got targeted so much.
Oh, okay. You mean it was a
like a
lightning conductor.
beacon. Yeah.
Okay.
It's just like,
Well, it's
you
like
guys,
a 4/5
look at me.
for 2, right?
It's a 5/4 for 2.
Yeah. Seems fun.
Yeah, it was yeah.
You like play
Then
on
Spring to
turn 2.
Mind.
I'll take turn 3 off to play this thing this turn.
Mm-hmm. Well, and it's even really good late game too.
Okay.
Because it's like, all right, well, I have 7 mana. I guess I'll tap 2 of it. Here's a 5/4. Next turn, oh, I guess I still have 5 mana. So it's pretty good, like no matter when you get it.
Seems okay.
But then I got Spring to Mind, Gift of Paradise, Hour of Promise, and Cartouche of Strength.
Yeah, Cartouche of Strength beat my bottom this week.
Yeah, it's pretty.
That was the other card that really hurt.
It's pretty solid. Now we get to the fun creatures, and as you could tell,
You had to have a bunch of creatures.
I had 6 non-creature spells, so 18 creatures.
I mean, it's a little high, but if they're value creatures like the Hippo, where you can like cycle them early and then play a giant beat stick late.
So I got 2 Initiate's Companion.
All right, love that guy.
2 Feral Prowlers.
The 1/3 dies.
Yeah,
when it card.
Yep.
I'm indifferent.
2 Ronus Stalwart.
That guy I really like.
2 Sidewinder Naga.
That's the one I was talking about before. I like him a lot too.
Yep. 2 Oasis Ritualist. That's the
mana dork, right?
Yep, the mana dork that exerts for more mana.
Right.
Well,
it fixes and then it exerts to make a mana.
Yeah. 2 Bitter Bow Sharpshooters.
Okay.
That's the 5-drop 4/4 Vigilance and Reach.
Yeah, that guy I really like too.
2 Rampaging Hippos.
Yeah, that card's another card that's borderline unfair.
Yeah, it really is. There's 8 2-ofs in this deck.
Well,
but then
Go ahead, finish your thing.
I was gonna say, then I have a Harrier Naga, the 3/3 for 3.
Okay.
Prowling Serpapod.
I don't know what
That's
that
the
one is.
4/3 for 3 mana. It can't be countered, and creature spells can't be countered.
Oh, is that the cat snake?
Yeah. Of the 3 packs that I opened, I got 3 green rares.
I mean,
I'm like, yeah, okay.
That seems fair.
Yeah, exactly. The Quarry Hauler, the 4/3 for 4 that removes or adds counters to something. The Giant Spider, and then the Sifter Worm.
Yeah, I mean, your deck sounds very good. I think the potential to splash the black for the removal spell probably been okay, but
Oh, I could have splashed back because
it didn't sound
I
like you
had...
needed to.
No,
Too
I
much.
didn't need to.
But I mean, that's always something you can do. Game 2 if you think you need to, like especially if they have a god that's hard to deal with. But I don't know. It sounds good. I'd played it probably to a 2-2 victory the way last week went, but overall, do you think any of these cards are like modern playable? Particularly the Ronus's Last Stand, right? That's the one that makes the 4/2 or the
5/4. Yeah, I could see it being modern playable. So far from modern playable, it's always like it's up there as one of the highest like fringe plays.
Right. Well,
but then
I want to ask specifically for the potential sideboard inclusion for me this weekend, and I want to get to that in a second. As soon as I know that you're done with your draft talk, because I don't want to be
I'm done.
Okay, called inappropriate things.
Well, maybe if you weren't inconsiderate last time. When I say last time, I mean 5 minutes ago.
That has never stopped you from calling me something inappropriate before. So
when have I ever done anything?
I don't know why it would start now. So the modern PPTQ that I'll actually, I mean, odds are strong that I'll go to is this Saturday. And I've been really, really crunching this new Conley deck, right? This Intruder Alarm. And I feel like I've got most of it figured out. I've had my Twitter arguments with Conley over whether or not to go with Jace or not. And I'm currently on 3 Jace, baby Jace.
Alan.
I know. We're going to, whatever. Baby Alan Jace. And
he's not a baby because baby Alan is already a 3-drop. He's just a flippy Alan.
Okay. Anyway, I definitely think he's good, and I kind of want to put another one in. But I'm kind of worried about the sideboard. I'm not sure, because it's such a heavy combo deck. I don't know what exactly will come in or out or around. So I kind of have laid out cards that I think were going to be threats. And these are the cards that I'm kind of on being the threats. Eidolon of the Great Revel.
Yee.
Blood Moon. Imbringer / Walking Ballista. And then cards that are bad are all the discard cards.
Right.
But as we were kind of talking about your draft and Ronus's Last Stand, I started thinking, you know what? Because I have so much mana in the form of creatures, right? Taking a turn off of tapping mana to play this big, beefy guy might just be the kind of thing that this deck wants to do out of the sideboard.
Right.
To deal with things, particularly the Eldrazi Tron deck. Because if they have their good curve on you, like if they natural Tron on turn 3, and they're like Inbringer you, that's an almost impossible game to win at that point. Even a Walking Ballista for like 4 can be very hard to deal with because all your guys are little X1s, right? So my thinking is, well, if I can spell out a 4/2, or sorry, a 5/4 that can trade with most of their guys, or at least attack into a lot of their guys, maybe that would be worth it. And also having the ability to buy it back with a flipped Baby Allen, or Kid Allen, or Flip Allen, or whatever you want to call it today to bother me. Like, it could be good enough, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm still trying to figure it out. I know Conley's sideboard. I looked at it the other day, and I was like, "This, they don't do anything. They're just more of the same." I mean, yeah, there's a couple of anti, like storm cards, or a couple of anti artifact cards, and all those cards are well and good. And I figure he probably has some of those, but like I didn't see anything specifically for the Eldrazi, and I didn't see anything in particular for Inbringer or Walking Ballista. So I don't know. But I wanted to figure out what you thought sideboard cards are really important in Modern, or maybe sideboard threats, or threats to consider while you're building your sideboard. Because you're still way more Modern knowledgeable than I am.
So, at least for the local meta, here the local meta has a wide variety of the Eldrazi Tron, and like green, like mono, like all of the Tron combos that you can think of, it's here. So I found that even though I'm not running red, Crumble to Dust and a single Blood Crypt, or if you want to do with Smoldering Marsh, whatever, it works too. But having like 2 of those in a sideboard, so you can dismantle the Tron piece permanently, so they have to work up to it like a normal jerk. So those, but then also, see, that's a bad one. There are 2 different Soul Sister decks here. So I actually put in Tainted Remedy, which that's the, I don't like, what colors is your deck?
So the deck runs like 8 gold lands.
Okay.
4 Birds of Paradise, and 4 of
so you can do whatever.
Of the other, yeah, it's basically a gold deck. And 4 the other guy who taps for the Bant mana. Noble Hierarch, or whatever his name is.
Yeah. So
it's like mostly gold.
So I have 2 Crumble to Dust. 1 Tainted Remedy, just for that fringe play of Soul Sisters, which that's the enchantment that says if an opponent would gain life, they instead lose that much life.
Okay.
3 mana enchantment. There's that. Then I have 2 Surgical Extractions in the side, just because it's free. It costs 2 life, and it kills any major threat that might be coming next. It even if you Ghost Quarter one of their Tron pieces, then you Surgical Extract them, and you take out the rest of their Tron pieces as well.
Right.
So there's that. Just
so, like, my current thinking is something along the lines of, because it's a core deck, right?
Right.
So something along the lines of like 1 Hatake, 1 what's the, it's like the 2/2 Etherfield Canonist or something like that. It's a 2/2.
The blue dude?
No, it's white. It's a white robot guy who says you can cast 1 artifact and 1 other spell, and that's it.
Right.
Like 1 of that, and then like some amount of the elf when it enters the battlefield, and you blow up an artifact or an enchantment. Like some number of that guy. probably like 2 or 3.
I was
And
thinking,
then,
yeah, I was thinking 3 of that simply because Blood Moon's. If you have like 12 gold lands, Blood Moon means that you have 12 mountains.
which is actually not that big of a deal, really, um, because the deck also is 4 Aether Vials. So really, it's just a matter of getting started, and you really don't keep a hand that doesn't have like a turn 1 Mana Dork and or an Aether Vial.
Okay.
From what I've kind of learned. But I was thinking about playing some amount of those, and then it really kind of like boils down to, do I need something to deal with Eidolon of the Great Revel, which again would be the other guy, some sort of Blood Moon type effect to kind of worry about. So I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence. From what I can think of here, I imagine the top decks are going to like float to the top will be some variation of Death Shadow, probably Grixis, and I don't know. We have a Scapeshift player here that has been playing it for about 2 years now, and he and I did a bunch of games. And I think out of the first 5 games we played, well, I think we only got to play 10 to 12 games before we ran out of time. And out of the first 5, I think I won 1 and he won 4. And then out of the next 5, I won 4 and he won 1. So that's the closest matchup I found so far at 50-50. And I just don't like it. I don't like it at all.
No, it's Scapeshift is just so bad because you can just win out of nowhere.
Right. Well, and I think because the way this particular player plays, he's kind of tuned his deck for our local meta, which again, I'm not playing here at the local meta. I'm taking it to the bigger PPTQ.
Right.
But our local meta is like filled with, I don't know, like black-white tokens, or we always have one Boggles player. So his main deck's like built to deal with this kind of stuff main board, and it's like,
So put in like 2 Leyline of Sanctities.
I've been thinking about something like that. If I can find them, I will put them in. I may not have those.
Well, you may need to get them.
I may actually. Or
like if you're playing Modern, then.
Well, I play Modern like 2 tournaments a year, so I'm not too worried about it.
Step your game up, son.
I just don't like the format very much. I'm warming up to the Frontier though quite a bit, but I don't think I'm in love with Modern. I know I recently even just read something about how Modern is dying, or not Modern, how Frontier is dying, and Modern got a huge resurgence or whatever. And I'm just like, it's totally fine. Like I'll just keep drafting at the Friday Night Magics that are Modern. That's not that big of a deal to me. But like we have guys who don't go to tournaments. They don't come to local tournaments, local PPTQs, right? But they've now traveled since it's Modern season to 3 PPTQs, and they're going to travel to at least 1 more. Yeah, and it's like I don't understand at all. Like,
okay, so for the like I don't want to include dragons, but everything like the whole cons block. Exclude that, and everything from like Kaladesh back has been stale for Standard. It's been like 2 or 3 decks for Standard.
I mean, we both know that's not true. Like, I agree that tends to be the general consensus.
Yeah, like big tournaments.
Yeah,
like I don't even count local tournaments for the meta.
Whatever. Sure.
Yeah,
that's fair.
But like at big tournaments, like outside of cons, everything pre-Kaladesh has been really stale. And anyone that's been playing for that time period is just kind of like, all right, well, there's really no point in playing standard because I'm just going to be playing the same 4 decks that's always there. Why people don't want to travel or don't want to participate in a standard event because like it's boring.
Well, see, and I think that's probably a consensus with a lot of the people, but I don't think that's been true. Like, we had a window where, oh, what's that mechanic that you're playing with in Modern now? With the black symbols matter or whatever.
Devotion.
We had a standard, back-to-back standards where devotion was the only thing that mattered, essentially after the Pro Tour.
Yeah.
So I will give you that. The Pack Rat standard was crazy. But I think once Pack Rat kind of rotated out and the devotion kind of fell away, I feel like standard has been in a very interesting place since then. Like there's always been more decks, and again, that for me is a brewer's standpoint, not necessarily your typical tournament goer standpoint. So I can understand why people don't necessarily move into standard because they can't look online and see 12 decks in different tournaments, you know.
Right.
But for quite a while now, if you were to look at a big tournament result, you're going to end up with 4 decks or more right in the top 8. Which if all you're doing is looking at the top 8, then shame on you. But if you look at the top 32 or whatever, you're going to see a dozen decks that kind of point to the top every time. And that's been going on for several blocks now.
Yeah. But like, and the thing is though, it's like, who wants to not be in the top 8? Well, like the top 8 was where all the prizes are.
So the difference between a top 8 and a top 16 or top 32 often is just tiebreakers. Like it very often is, especially at big tournaments. Like you have to have good tiebreakers so you can draw at the right point. Like you can't have an early loss, which seems reasonable until you kind of realize that, you know, like for example, we had guys who just went to a tournament in Kansas City. I think there was a 9th or an 11th, a 13th, and like a 20th, right? Something like that. Like we had 3 guys that were all in the top 32, and all of them were 6-2, right? And like it was all about the tiebreakers, basically, that whether or not you made top 8.
Yeah.
So I realize that people look at that and they go, well, you didn't top 8, blah blah blah, but when you look at it, it's like, well, that's a matter of tiebreakers. Like you did everything you could, and that's just something outside of your control. Did my opponent, after I won round 1, was he like, screw this, I'm going home, and drop? Like that's not something you can control, you know?
Right.
So I feel like, especially people out there who are looking at tournament results to kind of figure out how many decks there are and stuff like that, you got to go deeper. You have to at least look through the through wherever the bottom of the cutoff is, and scroll back. So if the cutoff was 5-1, then you need to look at all the 5-1 decks, or whatever, and look through that to get a better idea what your meta is. Because I said, at least here at my local shop, someone was like, "Oh yeah, Modern, that's a stupid format. There's only 3 decks." I know, I got a chicken over there. There's only 3 decks, and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And I had to defend Modern. And I'm like, yeah, just here in this shop, and I rattled off 12 decks that get played regularly. Like, you got this guy who plays this deck, and this guy who plays this deck, and this guy who plays this deck. And our Winnabox is, and that's the reason why, because they're like, why isn't the Winnabox firing? People don't want to play the same 4 decks. I'm like, well, they kind of got a pretty good idea of which paper beats which rock at when. So really it comes down to like, kind of already pre-knowing the metagame and predetermining the tournament, so then they just don't come because they feel like they don't have a reasonable shot. They're like, I lose to these 5 decks, or I lose to these 4 decks, so I'm not going to even bother because they'll be there for sure. And it's like, come on, guys, play the tournament. That's what it's for. But anyway, I don't know. I feel like that's a thing for standard that is untrue, and I think that everyone needs to do their best to try to fight that. Let's see. I just have one other note left, and it's an article about building modern Abzin, which I don't think we even need to get into. I feel like we've covered enough. Really, the only reason I brought it up is because Nathan, another friend of the show, is working on an Abzan deck, and I thought there were some good thoughts out of it for Reed Duke. So I'll try to remember to throw it in the show notes. But it's over at Channel Fireball. So if you're listening to this and you're not looking at Channel Fireball, then you're probably a Travis.
True.
Anything else?
I don't.
Go ahead, bro.
I was gonna say I don't look at other people's stuff unless I'm playing them.
Well, I like to look at all the articles and try to get as much information in as I can.
Nah, I got other things to do.
Well, that's true. It's true, but I can do that while I'm doing other things. Like when I spend so much of my day sitting in this chair streaming, it's pretty easy for me to like pop an article up, read bits and pieces of it, why, like this game is loading or whatever, or this match is loading in HOTS, and I can work through quite a bit of information that way. Speaking of which, I actually lied. I have one more big piece of news. I don't know if you saw this.
Liar.
I am a liar.
So inconsiderate of the truth.
I don't know. Is it a lie if you tell people that you're a liar and then you realize that you have some news? How about not a talking point? How about news? Then does that change?
Sure, whatever.
Change the lie? Okay. So last week, I think on Friday, I realized that I actually got my subscription button, my subs button, over on my Twitch page, twitch.tv/SamusGarobo, which means I can finally start making, hopefully, a little bit of money on the Twitch stream. So I know I occasionally get some emails from people wanting to know how they can help the podcast do things. And people want to know what our Patreon is. And I haven't set one up for a lot of reasons, but mostly because I haven't figured out like rewards and stuff and how much Travis should be involved and how much Travis doesn't want to be, because anything I ask Travis to do is going to be a 10% chance that it gets done.
There you go.
So I'm like, ugh. But if you're interested in supporting the stream or the show or any of the things that we kind of put out there, it's a really awesome way that you can do that. Go over to the twitch.tv and give us a subscribe. Now, what I've been asking people to do is if you're an Amazon Prime person, I don't know if everyone knows this, but Amazon bought Twitch a couple of years ago, like a year and a half, 18 months, something in that ballpark. And if you have an Amazon Prime subscription, then you automatically get one free Twitch subscription a month. So a lot of people who maybe they don't watch a lot of Twitch or they just don't care have access to this Twitch account subscription. And it may not mean a ton, but it's free money that you're leaving on the ground for some Twitcher out there. So with a couple of little button clicks, you could easily subscribe each month to my Twitch page or somebody else's Twitch page, and it means a ton to those of us who are trying to make a go of entertaining as a living via Twitch or YouTube or whatever. So for me, that's really big news, and I would really love it if people could check it out. Again, twitch.tv/SamusGarobo, and it's a pretty big deal. If we can start making some money, then I can lure Travis in to do more Magic streaming. We did a little bit a couple of standards ago, and I think if I can afford to keep a good standard deck or buy a modern deck or something, I can get Travis to sit at the table and make fun of my plays.
Well, because I really don't have much interest for many other games.
Well, that's just it, right? Like, not everyone. Like today, I was streaming Factorio, and I'm like, yeah, I'm not sure what game I'm going to be doing for this evening stream. And I think I had a bunch of people like, please Magic or Factorio. I'm like, well, I kind of need to do HOTS for this reason, and HOTS is one of my more popular games. And I was still like, but we need Magic this week, and I'm like. So anyway, we'll see what happens. When we wrap up here, I'll probably see what everyone else is doing and jump in with whatever they're doing. You have anything else for us this week, Broseph?
Nah.
All right, well...
Not magic related.
SamusGarobo.com, Brew, gmail.com, twitch.tv/SamusGarobo, twitter.com/TurtlePower319, twitter.com/SamusGarobo. You've been really active on Twitter this week, I noticed.
Just like talking shit.
Well, I know, but that's like 80% of Twitter.
Yeah, well,
maybe even more.
That's 90% of my life.
I think that's 100% of your life, son.
Well, that's not true. Sometimes I'm helpful.
That's probably true. That's probably true. 100% of the time, Travis is helpful 8% of the time. So what do you have that's not magic related that you can sign off the show with that you would like these dear listeners to be part of?
Oh, nothing.
Come on.
Nah.
You have to have something.
It's
like your Japanese education, or
that's going so slow.
Your sudden desire to move back south where there's more brown girls.
Okay, well that's just a personal choice because, oh man, I love me some Hispanic women. Just like everything about them.
All I have to say real quickly, if we were to sort the attractiveness of a girl based off of their skin color, it goes green girls first, then probably blue girls, and then the races of humans.
Yeah, I can get with that.
Green girls number 1.
Yeah, like the alien tones number 1.
I might even put like scales in there too, because some Medusas are smoking hot.
No.
Well,
then you can't even look at them.
Oh, believe me, they're making something hard.
Right, your whole body, because that's what they do. They're Medusae. Do you think that their pubes are also snakes?
God, I hope so. Can you imagine having that many tongues licking your balls as you're going to town?
Right? Wouldn't that be awesome?
So good.
Like you have all the snake hair on top, but like so here's
like
the thing. It's like
your ears and stuff.
Yeah, but see, and then here's the thing. Like the eyebrows aren't snakes unless they're like really tiny garter snakes. But that's something that's always been a mystery to me. Like, and that's what gets me hung up on folklore from ancient times. It's like, all right, so you got a Medusa. Are her pubes snakes? You have centaurs. Which set of organs do they use? Because you got the
both.
human half. Is it both?
Use both.
So does that mean centaurs have 2 hearts?
Probably, actually. How else do you think they can keep all that blood flowing?
I just figure, I don't know, maybe they have an extra big heart.
Well, I mean, maybe, but seems
do they have
unlikely.
Do they have 2 sets of lungs?
Probably. That's a lot of I want to say man flesh. That's a lot of flesh to fuel.
Right. But if you have 2 sets of lungs, then it goes. That means your pathway, your air pathway, goes all the way through your body and like technically through your spinal cord into the horse organ also, and then it comes back out.
Well, maybe it just goes one way. And maybe it's not the tail fluttering in the breeze like you think it is.
So centaurs would be breathing out of their buttholes just like turtles?
Well, maybe what they do is they breathe in on the human lungs, and when they exhale, it exhales down into the horse lungs. The horse lungs take a breath, and then they exhale and they...
I just like how you didn't even question how I knew that turtles breathe out of their buttholes.
Well, I mean, that's just a fan.
All right, troll on everybody.
That would be all about you. I think you like putting fingers in turtles' buttholes.
I just like turtles.
All right, everybody. Peace.
Yep, troll on.